fundamental advantage. There are millions and millions and tens of millions of agents and dealers and companies and people that look like you for a living that haven't even begun the process of accepting the realities of the technology advances in our society. So it would make me super fucking happy if everybody clapped it up for each other. Let's do that again, because that was some tennis shit.
People calling me up saying they need a feature, saying we can help each other, but I see the leeches. Get the credit where it's due, I ain't talking Visa, but since we talking Visa, don't say you won't pay me either. Did you catch that?
And I realized if I don't take matters in my own hands, no one else is going to do it. And I'm not going to get there the traditional way. And Gary always talks about context, which I feel very passionate about.
So I just watched the opening keynote with Gary and Matt Higgins. And Matt was the perfect opening keynote for me because he was talking about scaling concepts, talked a little bit about food. He owns investments in restaurants. So it was very, very interesting for me and very exciting stuff. But anyway, so far so good, heading inside.
We're on a tennis court right now, probably people can't see that. So the reason that people enjoy watching you, and they hopefully enjoy watching me, and they don't know what it is because you're very comfortable on camera. And what we like to do is, like, I love to watch tennis. I don't play tennis, but I like watching people who can play tennis because they're in their craft, they're in their zone, they're comfortable. And anybody who's ever played sports, you have to be relaxed or you're not going to be able to do the sport. And that's why people will want to watch you. So if you continue to practice, they will assume you're an expert, you're comfortable on camera, you're confident, whatever it may be, because you become relaxed. It's not about knowing the expert or being the expert, it's about being relaxed, and that's what sends the message. So that's why people look at you and say, oh my God, you're like a video superstar, I watch everything you do, you're so like great on camera, and you're like probably like, I didn't start that way.
Sure.
And so it's really important to remember, like, we just like watching people who are good at things. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be someone frosting a cake. I don't bake, but I can appreciate that and be like, wow, I really like watching that. And the only reason we like watching it is because they're good at it.
Definitely, makes sense. Another thing that you said that I find myself doing more and more, and I think was the best tip that I got out of your panel, was comment. Don't worry so much about just creating content. Comment, engage, speak to the people that are out there that you want to associate with. I mean, I don't necessarily, I'm not good enough at searching hashtags and things of that nature.
Yeah,
and
I don't do that much either.
I mean,
my jam is the comment.
That's it, but I mean, realizing there's so many different things that you can do, but commenting, and I've been commenting on your stuff, and you're doing the same. It's just, it's amazing at how much this is a sharing community.
Yes.
And if you're not in it and you're watching from the sidelines, you think you're so far behind and you shouldn't start.
You know, I'm gonna just say currency is comments right now, because that's how we look at when someone says, it's like a high five, when they're like, wow, somebody really cares about me. It's like somebody giving you like a hug, a digital hug, because you're like, everyone's busy, everyone's scrolling, nobody cares, they're social drive-bys, double tapping down the feed, you know, that's easy engagement. And I mean, Instagram's almost made it too easy to engage with just the double taps. But when somebody comments, like, that is brand right there, because you're like, wow, Jay took the time to watch at least one of my stories and actually comment. Like, that took time. The 3 seconds it took, that is how people, that's the currency. They're like, oh my gosh, this person always comments. And you know you've got those people that always comment.
Sure.
And you're like, that's like my super fan. And you're always gonna be, you know, appreciative of those people. So you need to become a super fan.
Yep.
And shortly after being fired, it's David Davenport, wardrobe supervisor for Wolf of Wall Street. So he gives me the call, and we go and we grab the wardrobe, and with all due respect to my original mentor who got me in the game, I took those clothes to my father, who was oppressive. He worked a masterpiece on those garments. I turned them back in. He said, look, there's another account in town. If you get them, you're gonna be okay for a long time. Boardwalk Empire. After that, Law and Order, Person of Interest, White Collar, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spike Lee, Mike Tyson. So we ended up dominating the majority of the film industry. Now here's a fucking business lesson for you, right? When a $100 million production is forced to entrust their need, by the way, the whole production can't work if people don't have clothes. When they're forced to entrust their need to an 18-year-old kid with zero fucking experience, that doesn't mean that I'm anything special. It just means that that was a grossly underserved little niche. There's riches and niches. Everyone was fighting for a $40 transaction. I was in my own lane. Remember, I like to be where other people aren't. And so I doubled down on that, and over the course of a couple of years and making a lot of mistakes, and man, I learned everything in the book.
The content is the variable of success. We have an incredible team, and I've heard unbelievable accolades of the presentations around media and things of that nature. We, other people for free, you know, you can figure out how to get in front of people. You know, pre-roll YouTube ads for what you do for a living is something you can look up with a Google search and pretty much get on your way, right? It's the creative that you put in front of people that is contextual to the mindset, the culture, the target. If anything, I hope that everybody leaves this year. So many people came back this year from last year, talked about they started their podcast, they went more, just an enormous amount of success and beginnings of success throughout this entire day for me. But there's a part of me that really wants to put pressure before we go into Q&A. And I'd like you guys to start lining up if you got questions. Let's start doing that because I want to get into it. There's an enormous amount of passion I have for people to get excited about producing a lot more content. And when I mean a lot more, something that I got to say to a couple breakout sessions, one of the reasons I had my team do a fake takeover of my Twitter account the other day was I wanted to find a creative way to figure out if I could post 100 tweets a day. 100. And to be very honest with you, that was just a precursor to me to figure out if I can do 500 or 1,000. The sheer volume of content that I think will be the differentiator of the mature understanding of this social and digital web is going to be the differentiator. You're not going to be able to continue to just beat your competitors by knowing to run Facebook ads. People will catch up over the next 2 or 3 years. So I'm already starting with the thesis that's going to help you compete, which is your ability to somehow figure out how to make 500 or 1,000 pieces a month instead of 3. There's a lot of you on your first try on Facebook ads with 1 piece of content converted. It's that underpriced. It's that remarkable that you were able to win when you didn't know what the fuck you were doing. And that means being thoughtful about what you're saving or spending for your life so you can pour more into the business, right? It's gonna go away as much as you can, but it's content and media. That's where everybody's getting a little bit caught up. Everybody's pouring more media, but they haven't made 14 new, 44 new, 72 new. You're 1 new video, 1 new post away from changing the outcome on that CAC LTV leads. Same media spend. 33 to 47-year-old women in Detroit. Different piece of content. $8 lead, $4,000 a lead. The content is the variable. People have committed finally to the spend to some degree, but the people here that aren't effective on Facebook right now, it's your content sucks shit.
People calling me up saying they need a feature, saying we can help each other, but I see the leeches. Get a credit where it's due, I ain't talking Visa, but since we talking Visa, don't say you won't pay me.